The moment he found out he was right. Imagine that feeling. Generic intro in the Doc Goose. We're back with another FNAF Game Theory video. Today we have the monster we missed, FNAF VR Help Wanted, which is going to be absolutely terrifying. Last week we kind of stopped with the theories. We went with the FNAF was right. It was like the science of FNAF sister location. You want to check my reaction out? I'll leave it right up there. Also going to link down below in the description. Also going to be placed on my channel with all of my other Game Theory FNAF related videos. Now we're back into the theories. We have a Glitchtrap, which we met 2 videos ago, which is absolutely terrifying. Apparently FNAF VR is like one of the most scary games in all of FNAF, and I could definitely see why, because it's a VR game, and Glitchtrap is very, very freaky. I'm not a fan of Glitchtrap whatsoever. Still dislike the puppet more, but Glitchtrap is pretty much up there, giving us some pretty tough competition. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hopefully I can make it a tiny little better. I'll be live stream today at 5 p.m. playing my Pokemon White Nuzlocke, as long as I didn't lose today after recording this video. But I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hopefully I can make it a tiny little better. I'll read all your comments, leave them down below, and this is gonna be wild. Shout out to the patrons, taking the videos day early. They allow me to have a paywall on the channel. I couldn't do this without them. I'm completely against paywalls. I'm here to make you smile, not make you pay. That's been like the channel motto kind of at this point for me being against paywalls. But God, some of these FNAF videos I'm like, wow, I'm really glad I learned about that, and sometimes like, wow, I really wish I didn't know about that. But let's go ahead and jump into the monster we missed. I won't miss.
The books offer a closer peek at Henry and William Afton,
Okay.
how their partnership flourished early on, and how their view of
His
the
microphone sounds
animatronics
different.
evolved
He's not in the closet.
over time. Thoughtful fans might want to give these sections a closer look to determine how they impact the story
The
of
creators.
the games.
If only I knew how to read.
Right there. Clear.
Hey, that's why the audio
crystal.
sounds differently.
For years, I've been trying to piece together the story of these games, right? But one thing has always served as a major sticking point, and that thing has been
The books.
these books.
Only
Now,
3 of them?
admittedly, these books entered the series at a tough time. FNAF 4 had released a few months prior, the game that, to this day, serves as the single biggest point of frustration for anyone trying to piece together the lore.
Why? Because why are we in a
Always trolls
bedroom?
us. See
You know?
also the repeated use of the name Jeremy. But this one game was just too much. It was a game that played with so many different ideas. It played with dreams and dates and bites and balloon boys and new characters,
nightmare
and new toys,
modes,
kids
and
that looked like established characters. I mean, what was real, what wasn't, no one had any idea, and still to this day, we are at a loss about what
Really?
this
I don't
game
know.
means for the entire franchise as a whole. And
Because
then,
things
shortly
like
after
nightmare
that,
versions
FNAF
of characters
World
the
would
kid has
enter
never
the
seen.
picture, and well, we all know how well that one went.
Pulled from Steam? Oh God, was it really?
So
That's like the one game I could
needless to
play.
say, it was a
I already played the
sensitive
first
time
one.
for the series, and sandwiched in between it all was the Silver Eyes, the start of the novels, a story set in the FNAF universe, but not really. Question
I mean,
mark?
not really.
Scott Cawthon, when the books first came out, tried to make it clear what role these played in the greater story, but I don't know if it helped things. Here's his quote. "The truth is that after a while, lore can become so dense that there isn't any room for a story anymore. Another truth is that what makes for a good game doesn't necessarily make for a good book. Sometimes a timeline is so full that the only way to tell a real story is have that story set in a different timeline, an alternate universe, a different location, or perhaps from a vantage point that isn't entirely what it appears to be." It's an interesting quote. True to Scott's style, it doesn't give anything away. I mean,
but it explains a lot.
Immediately latched onto this idea that the books were somehow a separate and alternate universe. But if you come back and read that quote again, like I just did here for the first time in years writing this script, it's actually only one of the possibilities that he raised. In fact, now that all 3 of the books have come out and
there's more books than games,
we actually know what they really were. It was that last thing, a vantage point that wasn't entirely what it appeared to be. Now, spoiler alert for books, but basically at the end of this one, the grand finale, Fourth Closet, it's revealed that our main character, Charlie, is an animatronic recreation of a dead girl. That the brilliant roboticist Henry, co-founder of Freddy's, had a daughter named Charlotte, who was kidnapped and killed by his partner, William Afton, at the age of 3. And that out of his grief, he rebuilt her.
As
that the character that we've been following for all 3 of these books isn't actually a human being, but just a glorified animatronic that grows older with time.
And has memories and stuff.
Sounds really weird, but here, let me explain. So, the 4 closets, what that's in reference to, basically, Henry created 4 versions of that robot.
And then,
each
like,
one meant to
kept transferring it to the next one, and had different memories.
toddler,
Maybe that's what happened to me.
teen, adult, thus allowing this robot child to grow up over time
And think that it's not an actual robot.
Those robots with fabricated memories of a childhood he created using a camera and tripod. And if you think that sounds weird, then you haven't finished reading this book, my friends, because this book jumps so many sharks. But that is nothing compared to what this book does to the animatronic baby that we all know and love.
Yeah.
Baby, you know, the clown.
We love Baby? Excuse
she's
me?
actually the perfect fourth adult version of Charlotte. But she's
That's an adult.
also the robot that still, like we see in the games, devours William Afton's daughter Elizabeth and then goes on to get possessed by her. So this one robot is simultaneously Elizabeth's soul inside of Charlie's adult body.
But it wasn't.
In addition
Did Charlie
to dancing and singing and extruding out ice cream, she also has the ability to switch between looking like a passable human, so much so that the character in here actually gets aroused by her. No joke. And also expanding somehow into a giant clown-shaped robot, the one that we all know and love. She does this by using a combination of needles with little balls on the end, as well as sound illusion discs. I mean,
sound illusion discs, which apparently are actually kind of true.
It's a good thing nothing that stupid appears in the games.
Oh, pins. Wait, what? Oh, there's actual needles. Oh god. The sound illusion disc, which apparently are a thing, but they're used in different capacity.
Games, aren't they? They are, actually. If you look at Baby's design as it's presented in the games, you see exactly what this book is talking about. The needles with the little balls on the end, and
the illusion disc.
Even the weirdo sound illusion discs. You might see where I'm going with this,
right? Okay.
Well, many hardcore fans want to dismiss the books and treat them as a separate entity.
But they're not. They're a part of it.
You just can't. This book right here, Silver Eyes, is what allowed me to know that Purple Guy's name was going to be revealed as William Afton before Sister Location actually revealed that to be the case.
Because that was true.
Choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
The moment he found out he was right. Imagine that feeling.
These are the things that confirm that Susie and Fritz were missing children's incident victims before it appeared in FNAF 6. The fourth closet explained what
good way to sell the books. Know what's going to happen first.
5 animatronics, 5 souls, all melted down into one entity. But because my theories based on the books tended to frustrate hardcore community members, I backed off of using them. But here we are now, me sitting on the couch
absolutely
reading
correct.
This. The Freddy Files Updated Edition, which, in addition to including more fan art than a typical game theory episode, also has that quote that I mentioned from earlier. Here on page 222,
so this is a new book?
Last page in the book,
Penultimate?
Fans might want to give these sections about Henry and William a closer look to determine how they impact the story of the games as well.
Okay, so basically that ties in the books to the games.
These things, right over here, these three, they're important. They are here to stay. So, for today's theory, I threw away everything. All our assumptions, all the things that I thought we had solved from the games. And I took a fresh,
what was he wrong about this?
Look at this franchise.
Oh god, that game.
This time starting from the perspective of the books. And that brought me down an insane thought train.
Oh, I'm sure he lost his mind.
I don't necessarily think that today's theory is right.
When did he lose his mind?
I definitely think that there are plenty of holes in it.
When did he realize it?
But I also don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for the story that Scott is trying to tell. It's a theory that's worth chewing on, because it simultaneously overturns a lot of the assumptions that we've made about this series, while also filling in a lot of logical holes in the timeline of events. This is a big one, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. Big like what we missed in FNAF 4, kind of big. Here's my theory for you today. Mustard Man. You know, orange guy from FNAF 6. I'm gonna say he's Henry, original creator of the animatronics.
Don't we know that?
Of Fredbear's
Hasn't he said that before?
That would make this Henry's house. In turn, that would thereby make FNAF 4 his house as well. And if that's his house, then this is Henry's son, and this is Henry's other son. That's right.
His two sons?
Child isn't any member of the Afton family. He is Henry's son. And then that would make this and this Henry's daughter. And therefore, this then would be Henry's daughter's empty room. Now,
because
hold on. I am sure there are plenty of you hardcore FNAFers out there who are ready to tear this huge list apart. This is clearly the Afton household. We have established this time and time again since the release of Sister Location, but stay with me. Sit back, relax. Am I kidding? Pull out your pen and paper, start taking notes for your angry rage comment down below.
Well,
this is a FNAF theory unlike anything we've ever talked about, so
let's just jump into it.
So I already told you the
Philip
big reveal at the end of
DeFranco?
the
Is that his
fourth
name?
closet, that our protagonist Charlie is a
think that's
robot
him.
built in the image of Henry's dead daughter. But there is one last twist here. On the very last page of the book, we go to visit Charlie's grave. The real Charlie.
The real
child
Charlie.
who was kidnapped and killed at an early age. It's a grave that ends up high on a hill under a lone tree, similar to a very familiar scene that we see in the games. At the end of FNAF 6, the gravestone ending. And on it, we're told the following words were etched into the stone. Beloved daughter, Charlotte Emily, 1980
Charlotte
to
Emily.
1983.
She was
First
3?
off, her last name is Emily? I mean, there's no other name
Never trust
right
anybody
here,
with
so
two
that
first
isn't her
names.
middle name. So Henry's last name is Emily? We're talking about the Emily family household?
So
Just
what?
weird. I mean, this is a book series filled with animatronics
Why
that are
is that?
possessed by human children and metallic soul glue, but Emily as your last name? That has to be the single largest stretch of imagination out there. And no offense to anyone with Emily as their actual last name. I know it's a real thing.
Is
I'm
it?
just over-exaggerating my rage for comedic effect. But the important
I
thing
mean, that's
here
kind of ridiculous.
is the date, right? Born in 1980, died
1983,
in
3 years old.
1983. 83.
Bite of
Should sound
83?
familiar, right?
Bite of
Well,
83.
Why does it matter? FNAF 4. FNAF 4, a game
Is
that
he actually
ends
jumping,
with someone getting
like,
themselves
conclusions
bitten,
here, or
is not
he right?
depicting the bite of 87 like we all assumed when we first saw that scene, but instead is a game that is set in the year 1983. It frustrated everyone. I mean, why would you choose to do that, Scott? It made no sense for the story that we had become familiar with by that point in the series. It made no sense until today. We know that the gravestone is real. We know that Henry truly has
a daughter that
who
died
dies
and
goes on
is
to
on a
become
hill.
the puppet in the games. So what if that death took place in 1983 like we see in the book? Opens up a lot of possibilities. You see, the other thing that never quite gets explained is this empty girls' room that we're allowed to explore throughout FNAF 4's
Yeah, I mean, Scott doesn't do coincidence. Like, there's a
reason it's
purpose.
here,
Yeah.
but we never get a clue as to why or who that room could belong to. This, in turn, led all us FNAF theorists to speculate
that
wildly
pixelation.
about the owner of this room. Anyone with 2 X chromosomes was up for debate. This pigtail girl, and that was it.
That's
Because she was literally the only girl that was introduced into
in
the
the
series
story,
at
yeah.
this point. Later, when Sister Location came out, we got ourselves a second girl. And everyone celebrated.
Yay,
It was
more
Afton's
theories.
daughter Elizabeth, so that room had to be hers, right? I mean, the game was even alluding to it being hers because it was the sister location.
Oh,
Let's
sister.
stop
Yeah.
for a minute and question
Funny.
all of those assumptions. Because that's what they are, really. There's not a whole lot of proof here. What if that girl's room in FNAF 4 belonged to Charlie? Charlotte, Henry's daughter,
I mean,
who
it's
dies
possible.
in 1983. I mean, the room is empty, after all. And we're not seeing a whole heck of a lot of girls wandering around the playground area. And the year certainly matches the year of the disappearance and death from the books. Could that girl's room in FNAF 4 actually be Charlotte Emily's room?
Could
this
it?
whole
I mean,
house
could be.
from FNAF 4 actually be the Henry Emily house?
Henry Emily.
Consider
Dude, that's
this.
an awful
In the
name.
second novel, The Twisted Ones, a climactic
Even before there's someone in the
final
comment section
battle
that has that
happens
as their
in an
YouTube name.
underground animatronic facility. Sounds a bit like our
Sounds like a
sister
test-
location.
sounds like a
When
testing
our
ground.
heroes emerge to the surface, they find themselves in the ruins of a familiar house. Here's the quote.
A familiar house.
Don't you see where we are? Charlie whispered. John, it's my dad's house. It's the room we found. The underground facility
The room?
isn't under William Afton's house. Instead, in the books, it's hidden under Henry's house. And now, what do we see in the games? A hidden facility buried
And don't
directly
the
under
animatronics come out of the
house.
ground like to
A
bury themselves at
house that
night
we've
or
been
during the day?
assuming up until this point to be Afton's house. But it's starting to look more
Also
and
these
more
effects.
like it might be Henry's. And that's not all. Let's take a minute to flash back to FNAF 6, shall we? Now, overall, I feel like we've done a pretty darn good job of wrapping up this game's loose ends. We know all the names on the different gravestones.
Cassie,
we know what
Charlotte.
Candy Cadet is rambling on about. We know that
What about the hippo?
Lily Mae's girl here is Susie, who gets lured away and stuffed into Chica. Heck, we even know that the game itself, this building, could be the potential box where the pieces all come together and eventually get burned
The FNAF
away.
box?
The one
There's
thing
also
that
that.
we don't know is the answer to Midnight Motorist, a minigame that True to form was the one moment in every FNAF game where everyone collectively looks at the screen
and has
then
no
slams
idea.
their head on the desk. What? There's an orange guy now? Who the heck is the kid? Where did he go? Why is his window broken? Why are there footprints outside of the window? What is going on?
What is Junior's?
We have smoothed over so much of this franchise, and I feel so confident
But
about
a
so
little
much of
mini
this
game
lore, and
an orange
game,
guy.
That one little mini game is the one that just like niggles the back of my mind. If I could ask Scott Cawthon one thing about this entire franchise,
he wouldn't ask about the
one
box.
that I'd want him to explain. No joke. I don't care about anything else. This is the one.
He
that
really
I feel
needs
so
to have a
befuddled
sit down
why I'm so
with him and just
determined
talk
to
about
solve
it.
and why I'm doing today's
That would
theory.
break the
Because in
internet.
past,
I feel
felt
like.
fairly confident saying that the mustard man here is William Afton because he drives a purple car and he's driving away from the scene where the puppet girl died. But now I'm not so sure. It always bothered me, and literally everyone else, that a guy who has been associated with one color, the color
It's just
purple
a
for
different
the
color
entirety of
now.
This franchise is suddenly
Maybe it's a
orange.
different point in his life.
Tried to dismiss it as Scott pulling a Scott.
Maybe he was
Well, you know,
orange
that's
and then
not
something
the
happened and turned him
satisfying
purple.
answer.
I don't know.
It doesn't
Like
feel
made him evil.
conclusive, you know?
Like a turning
and
point?
More importantly, those footprints outside of the window. I mean, why are they there? Either an animatronic went to meet this boy outside of his window, but that seems unlikely based on how we know these animatronics behave,
or maybe
it
it
was
was
someone in a costume showing up to lure the boy out of his room. That one definitely seems like the more likely solution, but the only
or could it
person
be
in the entirety
like
of
the
this franchise
sister
who would do
come
something
and hang out
like
with the
that
brother?
is big ol' Willie A. And why would he do something like that to his own kid in
Yeah.
his own house and then get mad about it?
Get mad about it?
Don't add up.
It's like the meme where you put the
evenly.
stick in the bicycle
It's a
spokes and just
question that
blame somebody
really
else
started
for
to
it.
bother me when I was playing FNAF VR Help Wanted. Glitchtrap is clearly modeled after the first suit ever
get
used by
be
William
gone.
Afton. You can tell
I don't like
based
you.
on his stitching. This
It's very
was a
rough
hand-sewn
looking.
bodysuit rather than any sort of animatronic suit that we would see later in the series. This also coincides with the timing of the Midnight Motorist cutscene, which shows the birth of the puppet, one of the first major deaths of the entire FNAF story. Glitchtrap's suit also very distinctly has 3 toes.
We're
Just
counting
like the
toes.
footprints outside of the boy's
We're
window.
counting
Now,
toes.
as we know, Scott Cawthon likes to clarify things in his next game. And if there was one huge question mark left from before, that Midnight Motorist minigame was it. So we have ourselves a suit that would have been in use around the time of the minigame,
So because
as well
the
as a matching
toes.
foot pattern
And that's
to the
old.
design that
Okay.
we see in the minigame. Heck, we even have ourselves a potential reference to it from Ultimate Custom Night and the Toy Chica cutscenes.
He'll be mine by the
Oh
end
God,
of the day.
this
I just know
dating
it.
sim.
I told him to come over later. That should be enough. And if he doesn't show up, I'll just go to his house. And
That's-
if he doesn't open the door, I'll just find a window.
And here's
That's
where
creepy.
everything starts coming together. Let's assume that William Afton, in his Glitchtrap suit with its 3 toes,
That is
the one
scary,
who's standing
dude.
outside of that window, outside of Henry's house. He lures the crying child,
Breaks
out.
the window.
Now
Exotic
Henry's
butters.
son, to bring him back to the place that he loves more than anywhere else in the world, Fredbear's Family Diner. But we know that this is also the night where William takes his first victim, Charlotte, who's killed
Ooh.
outside of the diner. This would explain why in FNAF 6,
just
the
lose his
crying
mind?
child would actively run to Fredbear's against his father's will, but
Again.
later, come FNAF 4, he would be terrified of stepping foot there.
Because
Remember what you saw.
he got in trouble?
As psychic friend Fredbear reminds
Or maybe
him
he saw the
constantly.
murder and that's why he had to die?
The murder happened that night. That is what we're seeing in that FNAF 6 minigame. Meanwhile, we
Yeah?
have ourselves the Mustard Man, who we're assuming
Is that why the
is gonna be
puppet
Henry. He has a
looks
kid who's
to the kid?
not only run away on multiple occasions, but is so
Like, looks
determined
after it?
to do so that he's willing to break through his own window to get there. So, how do you keep him safe at home? Well, you lock him in his room. Just like we see happen in FNAF 4.
He locked
But
you in the room
maybe
again.
locking him in his room isn't enough. Maybe you also have a series of security cameras hidden around the room. Heck, hidden around your house, hiding a security
Well,
camera inside
creepy.
the Fredbear
That's creepy.
plushie
That's
that he
creepy.
takes everywhere to keep your son safe.
What
to
about
keep
Psycho
track
Friend-
of where
Friend-
he is at any
Fredbear?
given point in time? Heck, maybe you could go so far as to design sound illusion discs to make him scared of the animatronics. that he's
Dude,
seeing. His
this
once
is so
beloved
messed up.
animatronic friends now terrifying
Ah,
to him,
hi.
causing nightmarish hallucinations of the characters, just like the discs that we see hidden.
And maybe
inside
it
of
was just a
one-time
test
Freddy's
run.
chest
I
and
don't know.
sister Location. The same discs that Henry is confirmed.
Wait,
to
why
have
is there one in the
created
background?
in the books? These two, right here, they play a huge role in
And
these
it
two
fell
books.
off.
Though most of them in the books bear Afton's name, they were originally created by Henry in an attempt to warp the world around him, to hide from the grief that he felt after the loss of his child. Discs that, wouldn't you know it, Afton hides inside the Funtime robots.
Which you wouldn't really be able to
just
see.
like we see in the games. But
Unless
as we
they
see in
open
FNAF
up.
4, it isn't enough. The crying
It isn't
child still
enough.
winds up at Freddy's. He still gets himself bitten and he dies. With that iconic line in yellow, "I will put you back together." Now, remember that quote I keep going back to in this book right here, second to last page? Thoughtful fans might want to revisit sections of how Henry and Afton's
Just
view
sections.
of the robots
Just read the book
change
again.
over time in order to determine how they impact the story of the games. Well, Henry in the books uses the robots to bring his daughter back to life. He rebuilds her. He puts her quite literally back together. He
But
used the
not really
robots
the
to
same,
try
is she?
and heal his grief. I mean, if
That's a little
anyone
crazy.
in this series is gonna say a line like, "I will put you back together,"
It's gonna be
Henry.
Henry,
Heck,
yeah.
Maybe Mustard Man is the color that he is in order to better match the color of his FNAF 4 text. "I will put you back together" in yellow. And yeah, sure,
Yeah.
it's yellow and not orange,
Oh,
but guess
God,
what?
big color
Purple
code.
Guy was pink in his first outing.
True.
As the series has gotten darker,
But what did he
so
have in his
too
hand?
has the color palette. But seriously, there are two colors that are relatively similar. Maybe there's a connection there. And if the crying child is indeed Michael, as I've talked about a lot in
Yeah.
past theories, Henry literally rebuilding his lost
But I thought
son,
Michael
like he
wasn't
does his
the
lost
crying child,
daughter
was
in
it?
the books, explains all of the weirdness of Mike's behavior throughout the series. How he's able to survive being scooped, how he
Scooped.
has fragmented memories of his past, how he doesn't die after puking up mom's robot spaghetti, how he's only able to die by fire.
I should be dead, but I'm not.
Nope.
It's also worth noting that at no point in the series is Michael ever explicitly identified as Michael Afton. Now, it seems
Wait,
like
so
Mike
the
in Sister
different last
Location
name?
is referring
Just
to
Michael?
William Afton as father,
Father, it's me, Michael.
and him saying,
I'm going to come find you.
as Springtrap appears, definitely
Oh.
makes it seem like he's going out and looking for William, but that may just be another Scott
What?
misdirect. It's open to
Yeah,
interpretation.
it makes
I
it
mean,
confusing.
This scene alone still has people convinced that Springtrap is Mike trapped inside of the suit. Mike Trap. even
Mike
though
Trap.
I feel like it's pretty well established at this point that it's William Afton in there. It's still Will Trap. But there
Yeah,
are
based on the
people
description
who
of him with, like,
vehemently
the-
determined that
like, being
Mike
torn
Trap
up,
is the reality
like his skin from
of
the springs.
canon of this series. Regardless of the whole Michael stuff, William Afton in these books is all about achieving immortality through the robots. He's interested in the science of it all.
Why
he
do we
wants
want
to study
immortality?
the original
Why?
FNAF gang
Why?
and replicate
Why?
the living
Why?
metal that resulted from their deaths. That's why we see him tearing apart the robots in FNAF 3's
It's
minigame.
chasing
he
them.
wants access to their metal. He wants to harvest it to run experiments.
soul
He
metal.
wants to melt down those living endoskeletons so he can harness the possessed metal to create the Funtime animatronics.
That runs
I
off
mean,
soul juice.
That is the whole point of Candy Cadet's stories in FNAF 6. 5 things melted down to
To make
create
one.
one thing. And it's exactly what we see happen as a huge
So,
plot point in the final
it's
book.
all a
Henry,
quest for
on the
immortality?
other hand, is the emotional one. He's a creator who gets
How,
to
dude?
invest
How
in
did
his
it
own
go
work.
from
He's a bit
just
of
a
an
night
neglectful father while
security
he's
job
alive.
to-
He's devastated when he loses his daughter, turning to the one and only thing that he knows and understands to try and
Violence?
bring her back.
Robots.
He goes to extreme lengths to use his robotic skills to try and bring her back to life, and he does it. He succeeds.
Literally, somehow,
He
which
creates the
was
most
crazy.
absurdly lifelike humanoid animatronics ever in science fiction, and they have to be to do some of the stuff that you see happen in these books because it is absurd. But
Like what?
if we are truly meant to apply the themes of these books to the games, then this isn't the Afton family household.
It's the
Doesn't
Emily.
make sense. It's the Emily family
That's
household.
just
It would
weird. That
explain
last
the
name.
factory under the house. It would explain the empty girl's bedroom in FNAF 4. It would
Yeah.
explain the 1983 date that we're presented with. It would say why Mustard Man is yellow, why there are footprints outside
This
the
would
window,
explain
why
so
the
much.
crying child is suddenly scared of Freddy's, and it would even go so far as to explain the line, "I will put you back together." I mean, are there holes to this thing?
Probably.
Absolutely. Are
But-
there things that are difficult to explain? Are you kidding me? This is FNAF. Gonna be true no matter this is William's house, Henry's house, or the frickin' White House. It's an extreme theory, but I think it's one that's worth considering because of its alignment with
definitely
books,
worth considering.
Because of the lingering
I'm not
threads
sure
that it answers,
how accurate it is.
Which is why today I encourage you to discuss.
I think some stuff might be
down below in
wrong.
the comments.
You probably got a lot.
Discuss
20,000
overall
comments. I couldn't read
most
that many comments. I'm
importantly
sorry.
to remember
If my
that
videos
it's
got 20,000
all
comments, I
just
couldn't
a
read them all.
theory.
I'm sorry.
A game theory.
Ruined your
Thanks for
childhood since
watching.
2011. Well, I was, God, I was 14 in 2011. Yeah, that was wild. That was a crazy episode. That was really going to 14 million views, which tells me that maybe maybe he's not correct about this theory, but it's an interesting theory nonetheless, and it kind of, a lot of the parts add up and make sense, but also some stuff could not match up. You know, I think the last name, the Emily family household, that's just wild that the last name is Emily. Like, why? Why? Emily is her last name? I know numerous Emilys, and it's their first name, not their last name. Interesting. Also, Charlotte Emily. That doesn't really roll off the tongue very nice. Yeah, I'm complaining about what they named their daughter, okay? Their dead daughter, okay? I'm making that point. Oh god, at least you'd have a whole bunch of Glitchtrap in this, but Glitchtrap was, I guess, the very first, animatronic, or just costume. It wasn't really an animatronic, because, yeah, it was more just a costume, and then they turned into robots with the help of Henry. Henry brought the robots to the equation, I think. Yeah. So, very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to the next one, which should be, just got a reboot, which is FNAF VR Help Wanted. That'll come out next week. Patrons get a day early. They go so far to help me not have a paywall on the channel. I'll be live stream day at 5 p.m. playing Pokemon White and Nuzlocke over on Twitch. You're more than welcome to join for that. I'm always reading chat. I hope I have a one for us today. Hopefully I made it 10 a little better. But until the next video, take care and kitty music.
We were playing asshole.